Alright, let me hit you with something weird. Why is it that in 2025, when literally everyone has a camera in their pocket, most people still have no idea what a real photographer looks like? Scroll on Instagram for 5 minutes and you'll see 1,000 selfies, AI generated portraits with perfect skin, and photographers flexing their new Sony A1 like it's a Bugatti. But somehow, if you ask 10 people who the most important photographers in the world are, 0 of them will say the name Magnum. And to me, that's pretty wild, because Magnum photographers aren't just important. They're essentially the blueprint for the way we do things. These are the shooters who didn't just document history, but actually created it. They're the reason street photography exists as a genre, and they're the reason that photojournalism ever even mattered. They're the reason you even think about capturing the decisive moment, quote unquote. But here's the hot take. Magnum photography today isn't what it used to be, and maybe it never was. So let's get into it. So first off, what even is Magnum? Well, Magnum Photos is a photographic cooperative founded in 1947 by 4 absolute titans: Henry Cartier-Bresson, Robert Capa, David Seymour, aka Chim, and George Roger. These weren't just guys with cameras. They were risking their lives to tell the truth, whether it be through shooting war, revolution, or raw, unsanitized life. And it wasn't just about taking the shot. Magnum really flipped the industry. Photographers suddenly owned their work, and that's huge. Think about how wild that was back then, when most photographers worked for newspapers, magazines, and the rights to their work pretty much non-existent. But Magnum was built different. They said, nah, we're gonna take ownership of our own work. That's like if Spotify let indie musicians keep 100% of their streams and masters rights. It didn't just happen. So from day one, Magnum stood for something bigger than just the frame. They stood for autonomy, truth, and vision. Now here's the thing, if you just Google Magnum photographers, you're gonna get this aesthetic, grainy, black and white, dudes with Leicas, mid-20th century war zones, Cuban cigars, JFK in a hotel room, the civil rights movement, the fall of the Berlin Wall, basically. It's all just a history class, but shot on film. And yeah, these images are very iconic because they shape the way the world sees itself. But here's the debate. Are Magnum photographers actually relevant today? So before we go further, let's pause here for just a quick sec. So in the comment section, I want you to answer this question I'm about to throw at you. So in an age of influencers, TikTok creatives, AI generated photojournalism, do you think Magnum still matters, or is it just a relic of an industry that's moved on without it? Let me know your answer to that, because I would love to know how you feel about this, and if you've ever even heard of Magnum photographers before, because to me it isn't a brand new concept, but I haven't learned very much about it prior to researching a lot for this video. So I would love to know where you stand on that. And of course, if you're enjoying this video, leave a like and subscribe, because 91% of you aren't subscribed. So subscribing helps me out a great deal. We can continue to grow and explore new topics and ideas on this channel. So much appreciate that if you could do that, and let's get straight back into it. So now let's talk about what Magnum wasn't. It wasn't trendy, it wasn't aesthetic, and it didn't care about Lightroom presets or how it looked on your photo grid. What it was raw storytelling, real life, no filters. But here's the problem with that, and when I say this as someone who shoots both commercial and documentary work, Magnum's image got kind of stuck. It became this prestige thing, like a legacy flex. Like, you don't hear about any young photographers wanting to be in Magnum anymore. It's more like being knighted by an old photography monarchy or something like that. And it didn't help that over the last few years, Magnum's been under fire for legit issues, like allegations of misconduct, problematic archives, internal power struggles, and this whole looming question of whether they've evolved or they've just been coasting on their reputation. Because here's the truth. Magnum built the foundation, but the new school is building the future. Let me name a few names. You've got people like Daniel Arnold, who he's out here doing chaotic New York street photography that's messy and human, but also hilarious. He's not Magnum, but feels like Magnum should definitely be watching. Then we have another one, Rudy Roy, who's been documenting Black life in America in a way that's powerful, poetic, and feels pretty immediate. Not in the club, but absolutely in the conversation. And another one of my personal favorites, Petra Collins. And yeah, she's more fashion and portrait, but what she's doing visually and emotionally, That really is storytelling, and that's modern narrative. And then you've got all types of other photographers using platforms like Instagram, Glass, Visco, not just to flex their edits, but to document what the mainstream misses. So here's the real question. Is Magnum still the gold standard, or is it just a time capsule? Now, let's not throw shade blindly though, because there are some current Magnum photographers doing really great work. Alex Soth, his book Sleeping by the Mississippi is essential. The man photographs like a novelist writes. But the gatekeeping, the prestige vibes, I feel like that's what makes people roll their eyes, especially when the internet has democratized photography so hard. You can shoot a Pulitzer level frame on your iPhone 15 with the right moment and good eye. You can go viral on Threads for a raw street shot of a protest before the news even shot up. So yeah, Magnum matters, but it's no longer the center of the universe, and maybe that's a good thing. So a quick story. When I was much younger, I picked up a Canon AE1 and I didn't know what aperture was, so I shot everything on expired film from I have no idea where, but I remember seeing a Henry Cartier-Bresson photo in a used bookstore, a guy leaping over a puddle midair, perfect timing, perfect chaos, and I thought, I wonder how they did that. I feel like it was pretty hard to do that, seeing, how much could have went into it, and not take that photo, but to see like that, and wait for a moment, catch the rhythm, and tell the story all at once. That's what Magnum gave me. It gave me the permission to care about the world through a lens, but now I feel like that permission can come from anywhere. From Instagram reels of teens documenting their cities, from indie photographers selling Zines on Etsy, or even from YouTubers breaking down photo essays in ways that are actually accessible. The world doesn't just need one lens anymore, it needs all of them. So to bring this full circle, Magnum photographers aren't just a part of history, they are history. But maybe the real legacy just isn't in the name. Maybe it's in the mindset. And I feel like that requires us to shoot what really matters and shoot our own vision, no matter what it is. Say something with your camera that goes beyond the algorithm. You don't just need a Leica or press pass to be a Magnum photographer in spirit. Just a camera, some courage, and the guts to point it at something real and capture it. So what do you think about Magnum photographers? Do you think this is still a growing fad, or do you think it's kind of fizzled out? I know many people I've spoken to have never even mentioned this genre or just this little, DLC aspect of photography, I guess, because I've never had a conversation with anyone about it. So I decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and make something for my viewers about this and see what they have to say about it, because you guys always have really interesting takes and I love to know what everyone has to say. So if you haven't already, drop a comment, let me know what you think about this video, and of course I appreciate you so much for watching. I hope this video inspired you to go out there and create, find your vision, and just go capture it. It doesn't matter what it is or how it looks. One day you're gonna look back at the photos you took and maybe they'll be a lot more valuable in the future than they are now. So just because you don't see the value in them today, that doesn't mean that they won't be equivalent to pure gold 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. But anyways, I appreciate you for watching. If you enjoyed this, of course, leave a like and again, subscribe. But I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.